lovelies, I hope you're well. So in this session we're going to talk about forward folding, and I'm going to give you some little tips on some easy ways to forward fold to help you build up your practice. So one of the myths about forward folds is that your legs have to be straight. Your leg and hip flexibility will happen over time, and the trick to straight legs in yoga over time is not actually hamstrings. People feel as though they have to stretch out the hamstrings, this part of the legs, in order for them to get deep in forward folds, okay, which is not the case. So in my classes and in all of the yoga classes, this is what I want you to do. When it's time to forward fold, you're going to inhale, use the inhale, exhale, bend your knees, and then stick your bum out, okay? Now your knees can be bent, but what's important is that you want to try and find the floor. So you don't want to do this, you don't want to try and reach for the floor here, you want to bend your knees, see if you can find the floor. Once your hands are planted on the floor, it gives you lots of options for other things to do within your yoga practice, and particularly sun salutations and vinyasas, which we'll get to at a later date. So what I want you to do now is just have a little practice, feet fairly close together, don't have to be touching, maybe hip distance apart. Bend your knees, stick your bum out, lean forward, drop your head, hands to the floor, okay? So the dropping the head thing is also really important too, because often we don't want to put any stress on the back of the neck and the head. We want everything to be soft and relaxed. So when we drop our head down, we want to try and take our chin towards our chest. Okay, come into this position. Over time, you might feel comfortable straightening the legs out. You'll probably find that one leg is also much easier to straighten out than the other. But any forward folds, a little bend in the knee is absolutely fine. So that was we call it in yoga Uttanasana, which is a general forward fold with the legs together. Forward fold. We also do a pose called Ardha Uttanasana, which is a half fold, which is bringing your hands to your shins, lifting the chest, looking forward. Another option for that is to bring your fingertips to the floor, but again it depends on your hamstring flexibility. So if you need to, a little bend in the knees as you look forward is absolutely fine too. Okay? Hands flat to the floor is what we're looking for. So bend the knees, hands at the floor, drop the head, Uttanasana, forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana, half fold, either fingertips to the floor looking forward. I actually prefer hands to the shins because I think it gives you a much nicer shape and stretch across your back and then down the back of your legs. So then the next tip I've got for you is wide forward fold. So when we do a wide forward fold in class, make sure you have your socks off, and when you take your legs, you want to try and take them as wide as you can. Okay, give it a try. The wider your legs are, it's much easier for you to actually practice this pose. So don't be afraid to take your legs out nice and wide. If you feel as though you're slipping on the mat, then you might need either change mat, give your mat a clean. If your mat's a bit dirty, sometimes it makes it a bit slippy, but also make sure that you're gripping in with your toes. You kind of use the soles of your feet and your toes, and that's why it's important to have socks on to grip into the mat. Okay? Once you've got your legs out, try to avoid pointing your toes out to the side. So I bet initially when you look down, your feet possibly are pointing out to the side. Bring them back in so that the toes are pointing forward. Okay? We're going to do a forward fold now. So start off with hands on hips, bring awareness to your breath. We're going to take a big breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to stick the bum out to the back of the room, and we're just going to lean forward like so. And this might be as far as you go. This is totally fine. When you're ready, on the next inhale, come up, and then back. And sometimes in the beginner's class, I will do this with you 3 or 4 times just to kind of get the rhythm in and get to see how it feels like across your bottom, your glutes, and down your hamstrings. So inhale to prepare, exhale, stick the bum out, forward fold, and then inhale, bring it back. And then we'll try that again. Inhale, and then exhale. Beautiful, bring it back in. We're now going to try and take the hands to the floor. And there was an option earlier actually, which I should have mentioned, that when we're doing a forward fold with legs together, if you can't get your hands flat, place a block underneath you. So in the studio here we've got some cold box and we've got some blue box. If you haven't got a block, you don't need one, maybe just a book or something, just to give you that little bit of height so you can get your hands flat. So back to the wide leg forward fold, legs are pointing out, hands on hips, draw the lower belly into prepare. As you exhale, come down halfway. Now let's see if we can take the hands to the floor. So I'm going to take one hand down and then the other. If you can't get your hands forward to the floor, see if you can take your hands a little bit further forward, and that might help. Once you're in this position, we're going to walk the hands back if you can, and eventually you want to be able to have your hands in between your feet and your hands flat. This is quite challenging, so don't expect to do this straight away. If you can, well done, but this is something that you might need to build on over time. So if you can't get your hands flat to the floor like this, take some blocks and put some blocks underneath you so you can get your hands flat. We do this because forward folds is not about the actual bend, but it's about stretching out the back and the backs of the legs, okay? You can have a little bend in the knee too, if that helps, but just be careful that you're not letting your knees come in too much, okay? Take it as far as you feel comfortable, and once you're in your deepest stretch, chin down to the chest, and you want to try and get the crown of the head in line with the mat. And there's a really good tip to do this, and this is your elbows. So when your arms are straight, coming at forward fold, you're going to bend your elbows back and directly behind. I'm going to turn around and show you my bum in a second as we come down. So we're going to come down, hands in front, and as I'm going to drop the head to the mat, I'm going to bend my elbows directly through the gap to take my head down towards the floor. The goal is not to get your head down the floor. The only reason why I can get my head down the floor is I've been practicing yoga for 20 years and it just comes naturally, but that is not necessarily the aim. The aim is for you to get a nice forward fold and over time to be able to straighten the legs as straight as you can, engaging the legs and pushing down into the heels. Forward folds are super important, so there's something that I would recommend you try and do every day. Nice wide forward fold in the morning, maybe some half stretches, maybe taking the hands from the floor, dropping the crown of the head down, bending the elbows. Stay in there for about 3 to 5 breaths and then slowly come out with a little bend in the knees. Or perhaps maybe adding a little twist, so coming down, hands on the floor, twisting, looking up maybe to the sky, bring it back, twisting to the other side. So one of the key things about forward folding is sticking your bum out and then a little bend in the knees if you need to. Over time, pushing through the heels, trying to ground the heels down to the floor, engaging the legs. Practice makes perfect, so just do it as often as you can and you will see a significant improvement over a short space of time with regular practice. Hope that was useful, enjoy your class, see you next time.